Hey everyone, Soccer Bro is back with another video for you guys. And this is the haunted history episode you guys were waiting for this whole time. And it's finally here. And I've been excited for this one especially because guess what? This time it's not a location. This is an actual legit object we're talking about this time. Thank goodness. And this is gonna be about a haunted car. So that's another reason why I'm excited about it. And not the way that you think. And also, this timeline is also from the 50s. So that's another reason why I'm excited about this. Also, grape juice. Gotta whip the throat there. So before we get into the video, I want to say a couple things. You guys are gonna hate me. So first, happy announcement. We're probably gonna be getting a new addition to the family soon. We're gonna be having another pet. And we're gonna be having probably a new kitten in the family. Which, I mean, it's happy news, but like, I'm just kind of antsy on it because I'm just worried about my cat because I don't want her to get stressed out. 2, she's 17 years old and she's outlived basically all of my other family pets at this point. So like bringing in a kitten will probably be stressful for her. And since she's old, I don't want her to like end up hiding because sometimes she hides in like the ceiling in the basement, and I don't want that happening because she's old. And also I went to go visit my sister yesterday, so I'm tired. Also yesterday was like the Jupiter event, so if you missed it, I feel you because I could barely see it anyways. So like I only saw like it just looked like a dot in the sky, and that was basically it. And that it was yellow, and it was because the normal stars just look like they're white light instead of yellow light. So whenever you see a planet, it usually looks different because they have like a different color to them, which is yellow. So yeah, also there's going to be a new story time coming up for the next video, but I'll probably record something next week because you guys already have like 2 videos this week. So you guys saw the video that I recorded the day before yesterday, and then you're watching this one now, obviously. So like, if you didn't see the one that was earlier this week, pause this, watch that one, and then if you did watch it, then continue watching. So yeah, and plus the story time is basically from that same day, and it was basically after I was done recording, and I told a couple people, and I just don't feel like comfortable saying it now because it was so recent that it still kind of bugs me to a point. So I didn't want to like do the story time and then keep you guys waiting for the haunted history episode, but it was also because like I didn't want to end up like you guys not understanding it because I would be bawling my eyes out again for like the 14th time. But if you did have my Snapchat, you probably would have seen it on my story, but I did like text people it, but it made more sense if you guys watched the video on the story because I could barely make 0 sense when I text a lot of the time. So it's better to hear me talking than it is to like, or talk face to face or calling or doing like the video things that you do on like Snapchat or whatever, because it's easier to communicate that way because you can understand people better versus texting. I do like texting. I'm not saying that I don't, but it's just half the time it don't make sense at all. Even when I'm talking to like family, they also are like, you make no exact sense, and then I have to apologize because like, I don't see me not making sense until after, like, I fully read it after I sent it. So it's funny, but it's the sad type of funny. So anyways, let's get into the video. So this story is about, there was a fly on my bottle of grape juice. So this is a story of a haunted car, and that's why I'm so excited about this. Because I love cars, especially anything from like the 50s and up in history, or I should say down in history, because all those events already passed, honestly. So like anything that's historical, I love, especially if it's automotive history too, which I might start a series on automotive history too, which I'm excited about. But and plus I also like this story because it just reminds me of the movie Christine. And no, I haven't seen it. I want to watch it, and I can never find it. Not yet. And plus I also want to watch it with somebody, but also I wouldn't mind watching it by myself too, in a way. But it also reminds me of this. You'll see why later in the video. But it also reminds me of that episode on My Babysitter's a Vampire, which also had, it's a series on Disney Channel. Good show. I love that episode. That's like my favorite episode of that. And also, the movie, the first movie was actually bomb. The second movie, not the same. The first one was the better one. Anyways, so we are talking about James Dean. Mr. Dean was an actor and racer in the 50s. And he bought his car, his Porsche Spyder 550 in 1955. So he basically bought this in the year that like Elvis started his career, and the Ford Thunderbirds started production too. with the Y engine from like the first generation of them. I saved that TikTok and I watch that all the time now. It's like a 3-minute TikTok video. It's the best thing ever. Anyways, so he named his car this. And YouTube, do not demonetize me because it is not me. I'm doing this for educational purposes. Don't scream at me. I know this, a lot of people have never really heard me really say this specific word. And if you did, it's really weird for me to say it anyways. Because I usually say like like the other slurs that you guys have basically heard me say in most of my videos, basically. Or basically say other stuff. But anyways, like this one's kind of worse, but also not worse, if that makes sense. So he named his car Little Bastard, and it is a Porsche Spyder 550, which I'm gonna say it like that because it's just gonna be weird for my brain saying 550 every time I have to say that. Car people are literally gonna scream at me in the comments because they're gonna say it's said the other way. So he didn't own this car for a long time, similar to how my grandfather didn't have the Mercury for a long time before he passed away. But the only difference is my grandfather didn't die from a car crash. Dean did, and I'm gonna call him Dean because I do not feel like calling him James. And plus, when I was researching it, it just said Dean every time. Like, most people just call him by his last name, which makes sense because a lot of people do call people by the last name instead of their first name. It depends on the people, because like you know how people have like nicknames and stuff like that. Blah, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, some people do that. I went through a phase where I just had people just call me by my last name in like middle school for some odd reason. I just liked it better. I don't know why. It's weird. Well, it's not weird because other people do it, but still. So he was in a crash on September 30th, 1955. And guess what month it is now? This is September, but this is not the 30th. Or it is, I don't remember. I think it's the 26th today, or is it the 27th? No, it's the 20th today, my bad. Okay, so today's the 20th. So tomorrow's the 29th. Okay. I don't even remember what, like, day this is. Oh, wait. Okay, so today's Tuesday. Okay. So the 30th will be the Wednesday, and then it's October. And you know what that means? Halloween! Yes! Anyways. It's true though. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one excited. So yeah, so he was on the crash the 30th of this month in 1955. It is 2022 right now, so this was like 80 or 70 years ago. 70, 60 years ago. It was a while ago, but it's not 100 years yet. Which would be 225. That would be 100 years from 1955. 2020. What? Did I say 2025? I meant 2055. That's what I meant to say. That would be 100 years. I don't know why I said 2025. That is not accurate at all. So this all took place in California, by the way. Particularly in, like, Los Angeles, basically. He met up with one of his friends that is also an actor and racer who shared the same love of cars as Dean, Alec Guinness. He met up with, but this is where it kind of gets a little weird here. So when they were talking and he was showing off his brand new, Porsche, he basically, not Dean, but Alec said, but it wasn't his voice, like someone was communicating through him, warning Dean about the car. And that's where the paranormal stuff starts. And so he warned him to not get in the car, never drive the car. If you get into the car, you'll be dead within a week. And guess what happened? Within the week after, on Friday, the 30th, which this year is a Thursday. I could be wrong. Like it's not like I could check. I don't have my old phone out here, so I can't check the actual calendar. Oh God. So yeah, he passed away in a car crash the Friday after he warned him about it. He laughed it off because, you know, who's gonna believe that all the time? Not everybody's there. Not everybody is superstitious, so not everybody's gonna believe something like that. So I'm not surprised that he laughed it off. If it was me, I would be like concerned, but I would brush it off because, like, if nothing happened until the day of, then I would basically be relaxed. But then again, the thought of it wouldn't leave my mind because it would be stuck in my mind the whole time, so I'd be thinking about it. But I would have brushed it off sort of too, but I wouldn't have laughed at it. Like, I would straight up think about it beforehand. he was also working on the car within that time period that he had it, getting it ready for race performance on the racetrack and everything. Because that's his racing car. He bought it to race. And a lot of times when you buy a car and you want to race it, you have to put in the work for it. Depends on what car you're getting, because like if you're getting like a supercar, a muscle, or a luxury car, sometimes you can just, if you like the performance the way it is, good for you, keeping it original. But you can also customize your car, but depending on what you do with the car, you could actually lessen its lifespan. Example, the turbos, you'll lessen your lifespan with your car, and that sucks. But getting that bond with the car is a very important thing. He also had to drive it around a lot because he had to get used to the engine if he was going to race with it. And Porsches are very powerful, more powerful than you would think, considering their style choices are kind of like simple for their design choices, but it works for Porsche though. Simple but elegant and powerful punch. That's basically what you get for a Porsche. That's what I see Porsches like. I've always liked Porsche, but I'm still more of a USA person for cars. Mostly for like classics. I do like some Toyotas. I do like GDM cars. I do like other cars, but like my heart and soul is mostly for like Ford and American cars and their auto history, because it makes more sense, because I was born and raised in the United States, so I just think it makes more sense for me to more go gradually to that instead of being like a European person for the cars. So yeah, but I do really like Porsche though and Mercedes, but this is not the point. Because like Mercedes has more of like a fancier style, because they're not as like simple, but they look nice. I like a lot of their recent designs, honestly. Like most Mercedes or Porsches can't get me mad with like their design choices, because it's not like that bad. I remember when I was like pissed off for like when the electric one was released. I hated it at the beginning, but then I grew to like actually like it, which says a lot considering I really do not like the Tesla design. I did at one point, but I just don't like it because it's way too simple. And then don't even get me started on the electric Mustang. That should have never happened. The SUV version is what I'm saying. Like if they kept it like electric car, an actual car, which they can do instead of making it an SUV, I'm still pissed off about that. But some people like it, good for you, but like it shouldn't exist in my opinion. Because if you wanted an SUV like that, get like a Tesla. Don't get the Mustang. That should have never happened in the Mustang's timeline. It's just only a Mustang because of the badge. No. Like if you wanted like an electric car, there's like so many other ones. Don't get the Mustang one. No. So after he warned him, they were on their way to a race meet at the track, and so him and his friend Ralph were sitting in the Spider, because obviously Dean was driving it, and Ralph was in the passenger side, and then their other friend took his truck and trailer. So like say if they didn't want to drive the Spider back, they didn't have to, because they would have the trailer, and then they would also have a break from driving, because I would think Dean would be tired of driving at that point. Anyways, so because this was on the day of the car crash, basically. and they were stopped by cops before the accident. Again, this was the same day, so they got caught for speeding. And they got speeding tickets, but obviously that didn't stop Dean, which I'm not surprised, because it wouldn't stop most people I would know from speeding. And because he would probably like pay for it afterwards anyways. So after they got stopped by the cop, they started driving again and started speeding again. Well, they never said how fast his friend who was driving the truck and the trailer were going, but for Dean and Ralph, who were in the Spider, they were going like at least 85 miles per hour. That's what's said, and they were driving on Route 46 to get to where they needed to go. This is all in California. And then out of nowhere, Donald, the young student who in California, who was driving a Ford Tudor. I did not know that Ford existed until I read that. So, and I don't even know what it looks like because I didn't even look it up yet. I think I've heard of it and I just don't remember, but I've never seen what it looks like though. He decided to take a sudden turn and they collided, and the Ford got yeeted 40 feet down the highway, and Ralph went flying out of the Porsche because it was a convertible, if I didn't say that before. So it's kind of like, you know, the Ford Shelby. Not the Shelby Mustang, but it did turn into a Mustang later on. But like the Ford Shelby, which is basically the same length of the Spider, but obviously not the same thing. But it's also like convertible too. So like it would be like around the same weight as the Porsche. So yeah, wear your seatbelts, people, or you're gonna go flying if you ever get in a car accident in a convertible. Just saying. And then Dean, when he was being taken to the hospital, he was pronounced dead at 6:20 p.m. that Friday, the 30th of September. And he was there once he entered the hospital. He died like instantly when he got to the hospital. And he was at Paso Rumbles War Memorial Hospital. I apologize if I butchered that name, because I know I did. But yeah, that was the hospital that he went to. Gotta flip the page because there's more notes. Yeah, I like to handwrite my notes because it's better to see it. Because, like, say if I was doing notes on my phone, like typing it into my notes on my phone, I wouldn't be able to read it unless if I did it on my old phone. But I also don't really like reading on my phone much unless it's like texting is not the same thing as like reading like an article and stuff. So I don't like it because I'd rather like research on a computer or something because it's easier to read. Either with or without my glasses. I just don't have the attention span to read on my phone. So it's just, and again, that's when I'm researching, but I try to push through it as hard as I can, honestly, though. Even though the car was called a total loss by the insurance company, they basically brought it to a salvage yard, which is a junkyard, which is also a nickname for car graveyard. Because that's where a lot of cars go to die, or they get bought by people who want to restore them, or they're there to sell the parts from the car to help fix the other cars that need the same parts. And yeah, that's where a lot of cars go to die, and it's very depressing. Mostly for people like me, for car enthusiasts, especially for the classic car enthusiasts, it's even more depressing. And then the car was sold off, but when it started to cause problems for people when it was sold off after it was taken out of the salvage yard. I had to think of how I was gonna say it. That's why I was like quiet for like a whole minute. And then William, which we will call Will for short because it's easier, he put Little Bastard's engine in his car, the Lotus IX, which that's probably a number, but I'm too lazy to remember the number that that's referring to. And Lotuses are actually really nice, and I'm not surprised that it's a luxury car, but some people did like supercharge them for like racing and stuff like that. It would be a good race car, but I would also say not, because most Lotuses are luxury, not sports or sports or supercar or muscle car. But that's just the ones that I've seen. So I think this one was probably different, but like again, you can still tweak a car and make it a race car. You can customize your car once you buy it. Like takes a lot of money, yeah, but it's worth it in the end game if you want to race and stuff like that, or do drag racing. There's a lot of types of racing. Street racing is dangerous, but it's hella fun. I have never done it. I'm just saying, I know people who have. So, dangerous but fun. All racing is dangerous, but still. And then he loaded the transmission and the suspension to a fellow doctor and racer, which I'm just gonna call him that because I wrote down the wrong name, so it's not the person that I would say, so I'm just gonna call him the friend of Will, basically. And they were racing with those new parts put into their cars, and guess what? They both got in car crashes, but the only difference is Will survived. His friend did not, because he hit a tree. And his car was totaled as well, so that sucked. But after these incidences, they finally thought that the car was cursed or haunted or some paranormal thingamajig. Like, you know, because like never mind. I'll probably bring up what I was going to say in a different one because I don't know if I'll say it right anyways, so we'll save that for like the next video. Oh. Like, they probably thought that there was something really wrong with the spider, supernaturally and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Because they did make a movie kind of inspired off of this, but I'm not sure if it was inspired off of this specific one, because there's not just this haunted car, like there's another one, haunted car, because there's one in the Haunted Museum in Connecticut. I do remember because I saw it in the video of a YouTuber that I watch, and they talked about it and stuff like that. And then they also have like the haunted, they have a lot of haunted things in there, like Annabelle's there, I think. And then also, they also have a haunted rocking chair, and then a lot of other things that I don't remember because it's been a while since I watched the video. So don't be mad at me, please. They also called it the King of Customs for some odd reason. But Dean's Porsche did live on after his death in the fatal crash. Even if the car was too damaged to be repaired, like fully repaired, because George, this is going to be the first George because there's another one in here and they're not the same George. He bought it planning to restore the Spider. It ended up not happening because it was way too damaged. And when the car was in storage, it caught on fire randomly, and they were lucky that the other cars didn't get caught on fire as well, because there was other cars in storage with the Spider. But nobody knows how or why it got caught flames, basically. It's just weird. Because it's sitting in a storage unit. Like, it would have to ignite somehow, but it could also be a paranormal thing. You never know. Or someone literally damaged it on purpose. You never know. It was also loaned to Los Angeles chapter of National Safety Council, and this was from 1957, from 1959. Still in the 50s here. The Spider was very popular, so they would bring it to like events and places, movie theaters. They would bring it to even bowling alleys for some odd reason. They brought this car everywhere to show to as many people as possible, because the haunted history of the car. And this is why it's on the haunted history now. And I thought it would be cool to not do a location this time. Because this is like a legit object. Because I also want to cover objects that are haunted as well. I might also do an Annabelle video at some point too. So they brought it to a lot of places for people to come and visit it. And now it is basically at the Haunted Museum in Los Angeles or somewhere in California, I think. Bottom line, it's in California. I don't know where. I think it is in Los Angeles. I'm not fully sure. And then George, being an idiot after he knew about the other incidents with the parts being sold off of this car. I have to straighten my legs because my legs are asleep. After knowing of what happened about the two car crashes that happened after Dean's original crash, he thought it was a good idea to sell two of the tires on the Spider. And guess what happened afterward? Guess what happened afterward? Literally. So he sold two tires. The person put them on their car. And I don't know if they had the tires in the front or in the back of the car. But both of the tires popped at the same time while this person was driving. And then they swerved out of control and they landed on the side of the street. Luckily, they're not dead or seriously injured, from what I know, because it didn't say anything about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were, honestly. So, plus I know what it's like to swerve off the end of like the highway and stuff like that before, and that wasn't me driving. It was mostly because people weren't driving sober, honestly, and also the car flipped both of those times as well. Same person driving both times too. Again, not sober. So, drive sober or have a designated driver, because it really is important so you don't get into car crashes or almost die or almost kill somebody else, like an innocent person. It's not fun. Need grape juice. I don't have a napkin, I use my hand. And then there's also a lot of unconfirmed stories of the little bastard post-crashed life. So there's already weird shit happening with this car before it even crashed. And yet, nobody thought to think that the car was haunted beforehand. Until after multiple people had to basically die. Or get injured from this car. Jesus Christ. And then they brought it to a show, and they put it on a display or platform thing. So it was like up high somewhere, and then it fell down randomly, and it broke a bystander's hip, and then it also killed the second George that I was talking about, like George Barkis, which reminds me of Lord Barkis from like The Corpse Bride. Literally. Oh, it's funny. But, well, it's not funny because he died because the car landed on him. But, it's just, it's ironic because his last name is similar to, like, a character in a fictional movie. Also, The Corpse Bride is the best movie ever. It's a good Tim Burton movie. Then, after this event, the Porsche fully disappeared from the box that they were using to transport it to Miami to Los Angeles, California. I didn't know that there's a Miami, California. Or it means Miami, Florida to Los Angeles, I think. Because that makes more sense. Unless there is a Miami in California and I wasn't aware of it, but I don't think that's true. I think it's because they had it in Florida and they were transporting it back to Los Angeles. Since then, the car has been missing for 60 years, and they still haven't found the full thing. But they still have the transaxle, which is the transmission and the axle of the car and the suspension of the car all in one. And I looked that up because that's the first time I've ever seen that said. And that is in the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nope. And then the rest of the car is still missing to this day. So we have no idea what the hell happened to that car. And I'm going to put this over here. Face it that way because I'm done reading the notes. So yeah, they never found the Porsche Spider. And then the only thing that's left of it is put into the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. I keep saying Los Angeles for some reason. It's probably because all of this basically happened in Los Angeles, and then now it's saying Las Vegas because it was put in the museum there, and then like I keep confusing the two even though they're not the same place. Literally. And plus, I've never been to Los Angeles or California in general. I've never been to Las Vegas. I've never been that far down south before. The only far south I've ever been was technically like West Virginia and Ohio, and that was basically it. Or even Pennsylvania, which I do remember. I think we just drove through Pennsylvania. I don't think we stayed there. But, yeah. This was a crazy event to happen, and I feel bad every innocent person that lost their life to either buying the parts of the cursed car or being yeeted from the car during a car crash. And then especially for the Ford Tudor that got damaged also in the crash. And this all happened in the 50s too, by the way. So this was like a long time ago. And it's not even 100 years ago either, because this was 1955. Some events happened later on, but like it all started in 1955 when that haunted Porsche came out of the Porsche factories. And there hasn't been a haunted Porsche since then. It was just only that one. But there has been like other haunted cars too, I think, as well. Because I've heard things with haunted cars. Which is kind of me thinking about the car crash from the connection to the haunted mansion in North Adams. We've went to it. I did an haunted history episode on it. So you would see it from there, basically. So yeah, go watch that episode. It's old. It's in my playlists of haunted history. This would also be in the playlist for haunted history. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I do apologize that I was all over the place. I'm just really tired, and I haven't had caffeine yet today. So yeah. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you all are having a beautiful day. It is nice out, but it's kind of chilly considering it's windy out. And I hope you guys stay safe, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening as well, because I'm like recording this around like 4 o'clock. This is like 4 p.m. or like 5 p.m. at this point, because this is like 40 minutes long. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Go check out my other platforms if you like this content. They're in my description. They're all listed in the description. And remember to stay safe, remember to stay classic, and remember to stay strong, my warriors. And see you guys in the next one. Peace out.